All right. Hey, everyone. Can you all hear me? All right. Awesome. How's everyone doing on this lovely Saturday? Just getting settled here. I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but MetaMask just shipped a little update where it opens in the side of the browser now. It's kind of feels kind of strange, but I guess I kind of like it. What do you guys think? I don't know when they made that change. I haven't opened it in so long, but it's quite nice. All right, almost ready here. Made me officially switch to Rabby. Oh, we caught someone here. I guess Rabby is a keyword. Thanks, Game Honey. Getting banned now. FaZe, you didn't like the change? I kind of think it's better because there was always this situation like when you're trying to copy the amount that you're trying to send and the wallet address, and you couldn't copy them at the same time. You'd have to. I would put it in my Apple Notes every time. Yeah, VR dev. Exactly. It's like, why couldn't they just? I guess they can't keep the extension open when you like tab out or something. Oh man, we're catching them all today. This is good, guys. oh, we need to have like a bot in the chat that just says Rabby like every minute or something. Almost done. I'm banning all the people here. Oh, it's funny. Good bait, Flame. Good bait. Hi bot, how do we install MetaMask? How do I install Rabby? Help me, so please. Oh, that's funny. That's a good one. Almost done banning everyone here. Can anyone help? Phantom Wallet has a similar side win. Yeah, I think it's an improvement. I'm not sure why they didn't do it before, but yeah, maybe Rabby will follow along because it is quite useful. Resizes certain pages, yeah. Yeah, seed phrase. If someone puts the word seed phrase in the chat, I wonder what happens. Not your seed phrase, the word seed phrase. Let's see. That's not bad that we only had, what, 5 or 6? That's not too bad of an infestation. Where's my seed phrase? Should I send my seed phrase? Good job, guys. Maxi, GM, sir. Oh, here we go. Man, Flame, you're on a roll. Let's see. I think I still have my old seed phrase. I know we have a lot to cover on the DAO call today. Maybe we want to get through our business first. Yeah, good job, Flame. I see Maxi here. You have a thread about the treasurer officer role, future of the ATF. We got a thread on that. A lot of good stuff today. Yeah, we're gonna maybe Flame. We're gonna make you the official spam baiter from now on. There's another word I could use for that, but I won't. The master, yes. Flame is. That's a new role we should create. Make a DAO prop for that. Official paid role. Yeah. So anyway, I guess we got Nestor here. We want to kick off the DAO call. Sounds good to me. Hey, FaZe. Oh, he dropped out. That GIF never gets old. I love that GIF. Anyone watch the Trump in China saga? That was pretty interesting to watch. Everyone on where I am was talking about it all day. I couldn't really escape it. While we're waiting for FaZe here. I think I might have heard him.
Test.
There he is.
I'm here.
Nice.
Yeah, can you hear me? Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, there was no sound on my end this time. So even when I joined the first time, I couldn't even hear you. I had to restart Discord.
Okay.
Yeah. How's it going? Everybody good? Welcome. To all the usuals. Good to see you guys. We had no proposals this week. Everything ended. So like, if you listened to the call last week, you're pretty much caught up on everything. Last week's call was pretty cool. Like a bunch of people on stage actually talking about their discussion threads, which was really cool to listen to. And, you know, it had me like kind of enthusiastic about the participation. So yeah, if you checked out last week, you're pretty much caught up. There was a little bit of activity in the actual discussion threads. And I thought that maybe we should go over some of those, especially regarding the quorum tiers. Because there was I saw VR Dev's comments to Nestor, and he was kind of like asking about the questions themselves. I had time to look over the results of that first survey, and there was a link, surveymars.com. I guess that was a different one, just asking pretty straightforward questions, not as much numbers. But I was hoping that we could go through them individually with Nestor. There weren't a lot of responses to the actual survey. That's the only issue right now. It's like, sure, there was a PDF that was shared of the results, but I think it had like 8 responses. Like 8 people actually gave their opinions on those questions, and it could be because of confusion, or they didn't really know what they were answering, kind of like VR Dev was suggesting. So maybe if you guys want to go over them individually, at least we could know what we're answering, and then it might make people more likely to kind of add their opinion. Welcome, Nestor.
Oh, hi, FaZe. Hi, Codadan. Hi, guys.
Hello.
You hear me right? Yes.
Yeah, you sound great.
Yep.
Okay. Fine. Yeah, thank you for introducing it. That's a good idea to look at the questions. Of course, it's always the question how to present it, but we could also make these surveys maybe a thread for them and present the questions one by one. After that would be an idea, just to think about it. That's also the meaning, of the surveys, just to bring some topics into the front of the mind and to start maybe discussing them. So, yeah. Did you mean the first survey?
Exactly. Like just a way for people. The problem with a thread, I think, would just be that it would get cluttered. So like if there was a bunch of questions and then people had specific questions about the individual points, it might like stuff might get lost in the just the way the Discord threads are set up, right? Because it's like a open chat. Whereas if we go through them individually, at least any question, at least for the people here now, you know, if everybody here kind of understood what was happening, then you would have like double the data to go on in the next like iteration or even final version of it, right? We have 16 people here, so like it could help.
Yes.
I mean, I had some questions looking at it. I was confused about some of the results as well. So I have like a starting point, but I didn't click through the survey Mars link. Like I have the tab open, and I guess you don't really go on to the next question until you answer one, right? So like I'm still on question 1. I just have it there, and when I was looking at it, I was like, okay, we could do this live. Like we could do this on the call and just kind of go through it. There are a lot of questions. I'm looking right now though. It says 1 of 23, so it's a bit more thorough, I guess.
Yes, it covers some more topics, and it also goes into the question of how we vote. Yeah. So yeah, it goes into depth, into a deep dive. Yeah, so to speak. Yeah. But that's a good idea. I'm not sure. A moment. Would you share your screen, or how would you want to do it?
I was thinking I would share. If you want to start with that one, I think I could just share the link, and then I'll like read them out, and people can follow along. Yeah, let me share the link to the actual survey right there.
I will open it up too. Yeah, that's the one. Yes, I see it. So, well, I see the surveys also as a as a tool for discussion before a snapshot or before a SIG prop, a signal proposal or a core proposal, just to clarify for oneself what do I think about, or what do I know about this topic. So just as a refresher for if you want to vote, if you are voting. And I always liked surveys, so
no, I think it's great. Yeah, for that reason specifically too. So if there's something that might be a little bit confusing, it just to clear it up. So one, it encourages people to vote on something that they might think is too if it was too scary, I guess, like if they feel like there's something that they don't understand, but it gives this secondary layer in between just the thread and having an actual proposal up where like people can ask basic questions, just to be clear that they're voting on what they think they're voting on. You know what I mean? They won't. Yeah, it leaves less room for confusion, I guess. So if you want to start with this one, should I go ahead with the
yes, please.
With the survey? All right. Great. So the first question says, should every signal proposal be required to meet a minimum quorum threshold to be considered passed?
Yes,
and the options are yes, always, no, it should not require quorum, and only if intended to escalate to a core proposal. So I guess
go ahead.
Reading this one, the reason I paused on this one and I didn't even choose an answer just to see the next question was because of the third option. It said only if intended to escalate to a core proposal. And then I had this question in my mind, like, hasn't that always been the case though? Like if you're writing a signal proposal isn't the way it's always been, is that the intention is to escalate to a core proposal?
Well, I think I mistook it once as simple as a survey, you know, as a signal. Is there a signal for it? And if you think back to the original wiki, or the Medium article, was it? There is the passage only if it has 20%, it is promoted to a core proposal. So it's like a temperature check. You know, you understand the signal proposal as a temperature check, and therefore, should there be something like a temperature check? Maybe, or how do you understand it? Is there some ambiguity? Because for me, there was a time where it was a little bit ambiguous. With one exception, via dev rights. So there, yes, there are. I think sometimes there is like the question: is it mandatory, so to speak? Yeah, if you say signal proposal, and this is just to clarify, yeah, for us.
So meaning, okay, so if it was a temp check, and it was just, for example, either asking for funding, or it was making some changes to governance as it stands, and it did pass. So, like, assuming that threshold was decided upon, so as it stands, it's like 7.2. Just as an example, if it reached 7.2, what does that mean? It's still just a temp check. Means the actual, you know, the content of the actual proposal, like nothing is affected, basically.
Yeah, we would have to, correct. We would have to clarify that. Yes. Also, that's as every SIG proposal, every SIG-prop signal proposal should meet. Yeah, that's the question. If it is,
Okay.
if it was admissible to change it, if it were admissible to change it, no, that was just a temp check, or you know, we had the time back then in very early times that even when a signal proposal didn't reach quite the 20% threshold, Pixelcraft could promote it. That was like the rule. You know, that's still on the wiki, like a historical document, but we left it behind. So Pixelcraft doesn't simply promote a proposal, even if the signal proposal is below 20%. That's not happening anymore. So there has been some changes, and this is just like, yeah, you know, the invitation. Do we want something like a temp check, and do we really want like a very definite system of single proposal, core proposal? When you mention SIG proposal in your proposal, then it has to follow this way.
Okay, fair enough. So, like, for that example, can we get? I mean, what do people think? I don't know if you guys have the survey up, but I'll just read it again. Should every signal proposal be required to meet a minimum quorum threshold to be considered passed? Options are yes, always; no, it should not require quorum; and only if intended to escalate to a core proposal. To me, like, 3 is already implied, so I would say yes,
Yeah.
always.
In this sense, yeah. I follow along. Yeah, but no future says. It could be a temp check or a poll.
Okay.
So then, we are effect.
Yeah. He said, but then the author could call it a poll or temp check. But what if it's called a SIG prop? Basically, a material wrote into his agip that the last payment should be released after another SIG prop. And he did indeed call it SIG prop. But at the same time, the proposal claimed it doesn't need quorum, which basically makes it worthless Because if it doesn't need to meet quorum, then there is no point in a SIG proc. A SIG proc needs quorum, a poll does not. Right. And we can't just change what a proposal is by like calling it something else. If it's on the snapshot, it's a proposal, you're asking people to vote for it, right?
Correct. That's the rule as of now, right?
Yeah, I mean, we used the snapshot as a way to pull things before. So like with the distribution, with there was something after that, I can't remember what it was, but it was a way to kind of gauge some data to then formulate a final proposal, right? There was this idea that a distribution proposal was coming up. There was an active thread kind of discussing, okay, what do we need to address, or what should the options be even? And, you know, there was a significant discussion around that stuff. But then even through that, like the final way to gauge even the stuff that was being mentioned in that thread was to make those individual polls. And those what ended up being the options in the final, like, published proposal.
Yes, and now Coda then writes, a signal vote is not a SIG prop. Yeah, and I would have mistaken it as such. I would have mistaken, yeah, or it's easily to, yeah, to take one for the other because it's so similar in its effect. You know, it's a signal vote is not a signal proposal. Yeah, and if you read fast, very fast, then you can mistake one for the other. So that happened to me, you know.
There was, this is from, hold on, let me open this last SIG prop. Ended 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that one ended 2 weeks ago and only reached 58% quorum, which was like, given it was a really short voting period, it was from April 28th to May 3rd. So it was like 5 days. Yeah, with about 60% almost. And, you know, that could be a reason. It could be just like people were hesitant because they were kind of confused about the language. I don't know, can't really call it, but I'm just basing it on the short voting period and the stuff that ended, you know, right before that. Nestor, it was mostly the stuff that you had posted, ballots, as well as Agip 159, which was, I believe, was reposted also, right?
Yes.
The first one, yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. Because I didn't clarify it, yeah, enough. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Maxi Crouton has also a comment. Yeah, it should have be called poll and not proposal. Yes, but we all got the meaning of it. The intention was somehow clear, and that's the thing. And it was not intended to mislead or something like that. That's also clear.
Oh, okay. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, we have to discern. I mean, there has to be, you know, some last resort of discretion where we decide, okay, as a community, or you know, the ones responsible. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and even if they don't, like, that's the reason I said there might have been some hesitancy, because like it does. If you think that there's a potential that you may have been confused about the question, but then at the same time you see that the text in the proposal itself is an ask, like there is some monetary exchange that's going to happen as a result of this. People are just like, okay, I'm not touching it. You know, if like exactly. I don't think that the immediate reaction would be to vote and then kind of ask questions later.
No, it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Correct.
Just like I'm not touching this maybe till I see something pop up in the thread, or if it's discussed somewhere that I'm paying attention to, maybe like on these calls or in the DAO discussion. But the DAO discussion channel itself hasn't been really active in recent times. Like most of, if there's any kind of back and forth, it's happening in the individual threads for these topics. Which is cool too. I mean, people are, they're, if you're paying attention to a certain topic, then you're in there, you're looking at the discussion that's happening around it. It doesn't matter where it's happening, as long as you know where to find that discussion and where to contribute if that's what you're trying to do. Okay, cool. So the first question, I chose the first answer. I don't know about anybody else. If you guys even want to share that here. But
I can also activate the first survey again. I think it's now closed, but I can reopen it. I will rework it, and after we have done that, and also, but that's now that's the second survey that we are looking at now.
Yeah, we can get to that too if you want.
Mm-hmm.
But should I just go to the next question here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So the second one was, what should happen if a SIG prop fails to reach 20% quorum but has a clear majority? The options are: the proposal fails, the proposal passes due to majority intent, and 3, it depends on the proposal's impact here. Yeah, okay. So No Future saying he only sees the OBS placeholder screen on your...
Yeah, I'm trying to...
Are you there? Okay.
Bring it on, but I'm not sure if I managed to. But we can... I could just maybe just make a screenshot so that everybody has it present.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. I will
Appreciate
do that.
that.
Cool. Okay.
So I guess with the second question, my devil's advocate question, or even just the thing that you would need to be clarified was, okay, so what validates or what justifies a clear majority? Is it 60%? Is it 70%? Like what percent has to be in favor of a thing, right? That would need its own definition too, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 69, of course. I would say 69 or 66.6, also a good number. Yeah. Yeah, 42, 67. Well, now modern culture, of course, would also be an option. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only issue with wording stuff this way. It's like clear majority. I mean, 99% would be a clear majority to me, But then if we said something like 90%, I think most people would still be like, that's a clear majority. You know what I mean? But like, does it mean 1% over 50?
Well, 99 that's not even reachable in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just
North Korea.
to give the extreme cases, yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But somewhere in between, so like 75%.
Exactly. I brought the example that some constitutional amendments in some countries, I think it was in Sweden, they necessitated 75% of quorum, I think, or like attendance of those who were eligible to vote. 75% had to show up for it to be valid. So that's the most I have seen, like when countries decide about something.
And okay, so like with this question, are you kind of applying this to all of the quorum tiers that you're proposing?
It's a question for yourself. Should there be like something else? Does this suffice what we have now to express my intent? Do we capture the temperature correctly? what if this is the case? It has 19%, but 90, like you say, 99% of these 19% are pro. You know, it's a clear issue, but it just didn't reach the 20% needed to go further to core proposal. I mean, how do we deal with that? You know, maybe, yeah, except for one is on the same page. What do we do?
Oh, okay.
And
Is that what the question is for? To see if it should even move on to core prop?
what should happen with it? What should happen in the aftermath? You know, and the proposal fails is the first option. Okay, we have to rework it. Second option, the proposal passes due to majority intent. Okay, we say we have another, maybe a group of people who decide that, or we discuss it a little bit more, and then let it pass. And the third option would be it depends on the proposal's impact tier. Like you said, does it concern a lot of money? Does it concern some governmental or constitutional change? In which case, we have to look closer, more closely than if it is only, you know, something minor.
Right.
So
And I mean, that's the whole purpose of this, is
Yeah,
like
exactly.
of creating the tiers themselves, right? So if this is applying across the board, it's kind of saying we already have a problem reaching quorum. How do we deal with it?
Yeah, exactly.
Because
That's to make yourself
right,
clear. Why do I vote for it? Why would I want a quorum tier? Yeah. Why would it make sense? Yeah. So because then you are more sure. If you answer these questions for yourself, there isn't any other option. You know, with the current system, and I want to have this option. Then I have to ask, okay, how can I implement this? What I want, if it is not here.
right. Okay, so I guess that's the reason for the third option here. But like, I just as it stands, like the only way I see it personally is that the proposal fails. So I'm choosing option one, because if our whole point right now is to kind of set different tiers based on the impact of the actual proposal
Yeah.
itself, then we need to define that, and then it would be self-evident, right? The proposal would
Yes.
fail
Yes.
if something. Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem. Maybe how I formulated the question. You know, I wrote what should happen is like you are the. Maybe I should write like you are the legislator. What would you let happen? You know, you can decide. Maybe I should formulate the questions like this. You know, more hypothetical, because that's like really a hypothetical question. You can do. You decide. What do you do? But that's of course a lot of you know, responsibility on one shoulder alone. But
Okay. No, it's fair. It's fair. It's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it includes the. If people are reading through the options there, then they're going to get to that point where it says it depends on the proposal's impact here, and then they're understanding that that's the whole reason that they're filling out this survey to begin with, right? So it's like you kind of, yeah, it's implied and it's understood through the question. Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, my reason would be like that should be the focus, is
Yep.
to create and define the tiers, like agree upon them, and then the next step would be we agree upon, like, you know, what happens in those individual tiers. And I think most of the time we're gonna come down to this, is like, yeah, it's if it's not meeting the minimum, the whole reason we set a minimum is because that's what needs to be reached, and if it's not reached, then the proposal either it has to be reworked or at least reposted.
Yeah,
But
which isn't a bad thing.
that's just me. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's just how it makes sense, right? Okay.
But as you say, it should have a process, and
Right.
how to proceed further. Okay, I post the third question. You want to
Yeah,
proceed
sure.
because
Yeah.
it's similar in a way.
Should the
So
DAO establish a strict codified taxonomy of proposal types? And then in parentheses, it says eliminating ambiguity around terms like sig prop, poll, or signal vote. We have options are yes, codify the full taxonomy now. the current flexible system works well enough, and yes, but only for proposals involving Treasury disbursement.
Yeah. So if we wanted, we already talked about it, right? About the temperature check, the signal vote or SIG prop. So.
And this would also be included in, I mean, it would also entail the different tiers, right? And their definitions.
Well, this was aimed at how it was until now. That's the question.
Okay.
That's the thing. The current flexible system, we have a system for that. We have the discernment between single vote and single proposal. But maybe like poll, for example, we don't have that like in our taxonomy as the rules as how to designate it so as to be clear. That it is really clear. It's a poll. It's a SIG prop, not a signal vote. It's a signal vote. So just to make it like, to codify it, so to speak. And that would be, of course, have to be done also for the other tiers. So if we implement other tiers, yes. That would either be valid for them too, or some other rules would be have to be defined.
Right. Yeah, I hope you guys could fill this out if you're at a computer, or even if you have a tab open where you could just kind of click through these, so that we can have you don't have to share your answers in the chat if you don't want to, but just so that we could have more data to work with when it comes time for the next version.
Exactly. Yeah, the site is fantastic. You can make very nice overviews then with the statistics, and of course, if we have 20 people that have responded, that the statistics are, of course, much more, speak much more than if the number is smaller.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Should we move on?
Yes. Let's move on.
Number 4 says, should a proposal author be allowed to declare within their proposal that quorum is not required?
Yeah. The
options are
never
passing conditions must follow DAO-wide rules. Only for explicitly non-binding sentiment checks. And yes, the community can express disagreement by not voting.
Well, yes. In the end, the community decides. So let the author do what he thinks is the right thing. Always under the proposition that it's goodwill, that it's guiding him or her. But yeah, how stringent, how strict do we want to be?
So can you give me an example of a proposal that would include that in it?
Well, it was maybe I thought of the one proposal that we then voted again on. That was the case with me. So that I would have thought of it as a signal vote and simultaneously a signal proposal, and I clarified it or tried to clarify it during the voting period, and that, of course, was not ideal, because that's ambiguous, and that's why we repeated it. So that would be my example. I declare Quorum doesn't matter. Yes, yeah. What do we have here? DRDev post.
Oh, is that? Yeah, okay. Thanks, VRDev. Okay, yeah, I have that SIGPROP open in another tab right now, and it does. He actually put that in there. So quorum requirement does say none, no core proposal required. Egg 146 final Gotchi battle funding milestone.
So it's not directly quorum, but of course it's implied. Yeah, if the core proposal is not required, then of course a quorum is also not required. Yeah, so I would say personally there should be some flexibility, but of course also defined. Yeah, how far do we want or do we allow for such flexibility? Yeah, and the third answer to this question is always the recourse is always the community. The community decides in the end. Yeah, and but that should not be the last recourse of the community not to vote. There should be like a way where we can play through it a little bit faster and transparent, make it transparent and efficient.
Yeah, the only, I mean, I'm thinking about it right now, but the only way I see that even makes sense is, again, if it was some kind of a poll or some kind of a temperature check it's not really making any change and it's not asking for anything. So the only result of that is to help with the wording or the choices of a final version of some kind of proposal. Which is like, okay, yeah, that's all that's doing is affecting the language that I'm writing as an author of a proposal. It's not really, there's no ask there.
Yes, but it's important, yeah, because maybe it is not perfectly clear and it's ambiguous for some.
Okay.
And that's correct. But we should
Fair
be
enough.
all on the same page to define the domain, the main and the words that we use, so that it
Right
can
on.
proceed.
Okay,
Fast.
cool. Yeah. So like I have the same answer as you.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
All right. Next, question 5. If voter turnout on a SIG prop is very low, but the outcome is overwhelmingly one-sided, should the DAO treat the result as a legitimate mandate to proceed?
It's like, again, similar, another variation.
Yeah, to the one about a clear majority, right?
Let me see. I just posted it.
And the options were yes, the directional signal is clear, no, low turnout undermines legitimacy, and only if turnout exceeds a minimum absolute number of unique voters.
Yes, and that's also the question where I introduce the idea of one vote, one wallet, one vote. Would there be a better system that would help us better to express what we want? The turnout very low, but the direction is clear. And here's the question: what is decisive? The second option here, as an answer to the question 5, is no. Low turnout undermines legitimacy, and that's the procedure in most votes. I know that if not enough people show up from the ones who could vote, then it's questionable, But in a weighted system like ours, of course, it's the case. In the worst case, there are very few votes that can decide about the direction.
Yeah, I mean, the only issue I'd have again with the third option is that it requires more terms and stuff to be defined, right? So like, what is, just like before, what signifies a clear majority? Here would be what's the minimum absolute number of unique voters? Like, how do we determine that number?
It would be correct. It would be another quorum number. Now we have had the quorum of 20%. We have had the quorum of 7.2 million voting power ghost, and it would have to be defined. You know, you have to just define a number where you can gauge, is this enough or is it not enough? We will always have that, no matter the system.
Right. I'm looking at VR Dev's comment here. If you could fill the proposal up with no votes until quorum and still make voting differential, then it is really a tricky question. Imagine 90% in favor with 6 million VP. Now, even if you add the missing 1.2 of negative votes, it would still be overwhelmingly in favor. So it's like, yeah, I mean, these questions that have, we're only on question 5, but so far 2 of them have kind of terms in them that would need to be clearly defined as well. Even though that's what we're kind of doing right now with the tiers, is like we're trying to define these tiers as accurately as we can to leave no room for kind of like ambiguity or like, oh, this, you know, this proposal falls into this category. There just won't be any room for kind of debate on the subject if there's an understanding across the board and everyone had voted for that. But if we start introducing new concepts, which I think, like when you say them, it's they're easily understandable, but they haven't been defined yet. You know what I mean?
What did you have in mind with the new concept? Which one was it?
I'm just talking about like the absolute number of unique voters, a minimum absolute number. And so, I mean, these are the 2 examples we have so far, and the one earlier about the, you know, a clear majority.
But you know, I'm introducing it and I'm using it in the follow up. So I try to define it during the questionnaire. But it all is the main question is the quorum. You know, that's why we implement the quorum tiers. That's always every time a topic of discussion. Yeah, what is the quorum? Last year, as you remember, pretty much exactly 1 year ago, we defined the quorum with 7.2 million %. And in the discussion coming up to this, to today, there were different estimations of those 7.2 million. You know, it certainly is not 20%. There are some calculations where it is more. That is even about 25%. So if we vote with 7.2 million quorum, and this is our only measure, we are effectively voting with a quorum of 25%. Or if we calculate it a little bit different, then it's maybe less. It's maybe only 13% or 15%. So it's the topic of discussion is really mainly how to approach the question of quorum. And it's a good idea by Maxi Crouton. I know it's a bit facetious, but it's funny. Burn the 2.5, make the calculation easy. Yeah, I think that's the gist. That's the gist of it, and I concur. Not complicated, you know, formulas and numbers. It should be easy and like, you know, intuitively graspable. Yeah, that would be the optimum. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. So next question.
Yeah, the next question is like a little, because that question came up. At some point in the past weeks, where are we at? Because the quorum rules were defined in the cocoon phase. It was or in the genesis phase, I think, very early on. And as you see, there is a progression through the phases, and that's such like a self-assessment or an assessment question. Where are we at? Are we, you know, and we maybe not all have remembered Did you know the Cocoon 2.5? There was a Cocoon, like second part Cocoon period. And yeah.
Yeah, okay. That kind of explains it. I was wondering where this question kind of like fit in.
Well,
But yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
it fits in
Trying
the
to get a feel
sense
for
of, yeah.
where the person answering the question feels that it's at right now.
Yes.
Which
Exactly.
phase describes where Aavegotchi is right now as a project and ecosystem? It says Genesis, early stage, founding principles still being established. 2, Cocoon, building infrastructure, community is small but committed. 3, Cocoon 2.5, infrastructure largely built, but adoption and governance, maturity lagging. 4, Metamorphosis, active transformation, systems being redesigned for scale. And 5, Oasis, mature, decentralized, self-sustaining governance. I mean, if anyone's been here for more than 4 years, then they're not choosing any of the first 3 options. That's just how I see it.
Yes, if newer members wouldn't even know, what these terms are, right? And
oh, this one's a slider. Okay. Oh, but you can't put.
yeah,
You can't
down
go in
there you
between
have a
them.
slide, and play around. But I don't think that anybody would land on Genesis or Oasis. But if you, yeah, maybe it's a funny thing in the Wikipedia or in the docs documents. There stands the real game starts only after Oasis. If we that's all like initial stages, and the real game starts only after that. So that's not the end. But it speaks to a progression, that we have some kind of evolution. Yeah. That is the idea behind it, as I understood it from the beginning. There is the DAO. The DAO, evolves and gets more responsibility. And yeah, how far are we on this way?
Actually, I think I'm going with Cocoon 2.5, just because it's the only one that's allowing for, we have stuff that we need to work on. Like, it seems that it's getting progressively better, and at some point, like with 4 and 5, it sounds like it's already, we're kind of already where we're trying to be. So Cocoon 2.5 here is probably most realistic.
Personally, very similar. If there was like 3.5, I would settle us there. Exactly. Redesigning something for scale means you are quite sure about it. Yeah, it's like something that you can work with. And maturity lagging, yes, in some points certainly. So yeah, somewhere there. But also to recapitulate the terms. Yeah, we have like a plan, a broad overall plan, and yeah, that should also sometimes, if you don't know how to orient yourself, it's good to remember, yeah, that there is like a big plan too.
Oh, this one is the next one is a bit. It said no question on this page, friend. Just an intro to quorum and voting.
Yes, that's exactly what we have discussed now. As we said, what is the, and I'm here introducing like the voter participation. Yeah, in most, when you say quorum, what's the quorum? In our case, it is like something special, but normally it is very simply the voter participation, how many voters could vote, and how many did show up. And so that's just an explainer. Yeah, just an explainer. And it goes then on to the next question. Which would be the baseline. And that's already, that's like something new. This would really be, the following questions would really concern a system where one wallet is one vote. Like hypothetical, yeah? Because we can also say, no, we don't want that. We don't want a system like one wallet, one vote. But that would help, again, to clarify for you if you say, okay, I don't want this, I want my system, the current system, yeah, to help, you know, to be more sure in your decision.
Okay, let's just go through it then. A says A1, baseline for minimum unique voters. 5 popular approaches are commonly used in governance designed to help define the baseline. And it says, quote, how many voters show up anyway? Each approach has different properties regarding stability, responsiveness, and resistance to manipulation.
And that's rather a statistical question, how to calculate such a baseline. You can take I'm posting it the median or the average.
All-time average, right? All-time median. Okay. I see.
I calculated it. I will post the results. I calculated what that would mean in our case. I'm just opening up my Excel sheet, and so these 5 options have results, clear results in our case, and I will post them now. It makes a little bit of difference, yeah, how you calculate it. So let's see, yeah, there it is. The average would be, that's now concerning our votes on base. That's all the votes we had since we are on base, and that's the number of participants. So the number of participants was always around, yeah, sometimes over 200, sometimes a little bit less, and these are the numbers that would result if we took like the average or the rolling average.
Rolling last. Okay, so I was gonna ask which last 4 and which last 8, like at the time of posting, but they're pretty. I mean, they're almost the exact same.
Yes, in this case, they're almost the exact same, right? But of course, if you take the last 8, any like extreme number is smoothed out more, way more than
right.
Yeah.
That was including those the ballots, or were these
including
strictly
yes.
like?
I just
Okay.
so as to have more data, I could make also a calculation for for Polygon, of course. I can maybe I give you the whole context. I give you that. That's nothing. That's
Yeah, if it's the whole time, I mean, since the snapshot has existed, I think it would show a huge like difference. But
yes.
I think this for the purpose here, I think going with recent history is probably
Yes.
best.
So I've posted it now. You see, there are all the Egypts and all the polls and something like that. I am producing also for Polygon, but there you have completely other numbers. You have numbers where
Right.
at 2,000 votes, or something between 1,000 and 2,000. So to take it into a calculation would be difficult. But you see on the right side, total VP cast. So as you know, the required quorum, that's like the 7.2 million. And I can also post a file if you want, if somebody wants to play around with it, you're welcome. And just for my understanding, how many voters do we have? And you could argue, of course, look, we have about 200 voters. Yeah, if like 180 of them show up, yeah, then that's a signal. That's a strong signal. It would be another way of approaching quorum.
Okay. Yeah. How many voters show up anyway? Okay.
Yeah. Like voter participation.
Each approach has different properties regarding stability, responsiveness, and resistance to manipulation.
Yes. If you take all the votes, then you have like a very slowly moving average number. Yeah, that's not quite good for reacting. And of course, it has trade-offs. Yeah, any
Exactly.
approach.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about it right now. I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't come up with it. But I feel like there might be something wrong with this. I see that there is the option on the bottom here that says I prefer a different approach and please describe in the open text field. So like,
Yeah.
some people
You
are
could
probably just going to
certain-
say like, no, I don't like this idea at all. Like that's the whole. Let's just keep it. Quorum is the determining factor, and let's tighten that up more.
Yeah, and that's the question, of course, what VRDev says. We have, in this case, yeah, one wallet, one vote. We would also have to have rules for Sybil attacks. Yeah, so such a scenario where someone would spawn 200 wallets, those wallets couldn't be eligible. You could like transfer to every wallet, I don't know, a parcel and a Aavegotchi and 100 ghost. Okay, no problem. I could do that, and you would manipulate, of course, the outcome. So simultaneously, we would have to think about it. But it would be, if you one look at the chain, if you can read the chain and one look at the chain, it would be a clear manipulation attempt. So stake it and chill. Yeah. Yeah.
But how would you be able to determine that?
Well, you would see that it's fresh. There would be fresh wallets, yeah, and you would see the seeding wallet. If you think about it, for example, for the PTD, we also did, like Goops did, and I think we are dev an analysis of, there was the question, if you had two wallets during your lifetime. So you can make an analysis that is even more complicated and come to a conclusion. It is possible, because the forensic tools are there, and the easiest approach would be to say, okay, like a snapshot, who are unique voters? These are the 200. Of course, there are some that haven't voted for a year or two. We wouldn't forget them, and then you have the new voters. Of course, there would have to be like a rule for that. But we see it. We have data from the last year, and yeah, if there is a vote, then we have approximately these 200 wallets that are voting. So,
okay. But then this would, so like basically this would require a new level of complexity. I mean, then you're gonna have to do a check after the fact.
It would be, well, I think it would be maybe easier, but the 200, yeah. Funny. Okay, und cool then. Bye. Have a good night. Yes, it would be a new system, of course. At the beginning, we would have to clarify the rules, just like we did with the current system. And well, I will come to that. You wouldn't, have to discard the old system, but it helps to get a grasp on what we are using now. If we are thinking,
it's good data to have either way. Like that's pretty interesting, the sheet that you just put there. But like I don't know if people are going to agree that needs to be or even should be like a deciding factor on anything. Because anytime we start doing that, then it's going to make things more complex. And what we're trying to do is kind of make things less complex, but kind of understood or agreed upon.
Yes, I absolutely with you. I have to say, this resulted from my attempt to calculate correctly the current quorum, which wallets are in, which wallets are out, what is so to speak DAO host, what is not, and this to calculate the current system was so difficult, let's say for me, maybe it's me, that I started to think about alternatives, you know? So that is the genesis of that thought.
Okay, yeah, got you. All right. Next, that's question 9. Imagine the DAO uses a rolling 4 proposal average for the minimum voter baseline. A group of wallets coordinates to ensure that 4 consecutive low-stakes micro-tier proposals attract only minimal attention, dragging the baseline down. They then submit a more significant proposal that benefits them, where the now lowered baseline makes quorum trivially easy to reach. How should the DAO respond to this risk? Accept the risk. Manipulation of the scale is unlikely. Simplicity matters more than worst case protection. Use a longer window, 8+ proposals. That's what I chose, by the way, on the last one.
Okay.
If we're using an average of the most recent, just because, as we kind of talked about a little earlier, I was like, yeah, it would need to. It makes sense that we're looking at recent history, but also like not too short of a window. So use a longer rolling window, 8+ proposals to make this attack require more sustained effort. Use a trimmed average that automatically excludes the lowest values. Use the all-time median to make any single sequence of votes structurally unable to shift the baseline. Don't use a voter count baseline at all. This attack vector proves VP-based quorum is safer.
Yeah, before we go to the question, that's like the nitty-gritty.
Right.
But let's shortly, Maxi Crouton just posted about the treasurer role. So that's a very important question, because I don't think we will have the quorum tiers before that. That's yes, you're posting it right now, exactly. So that would be if there were like the votes for officer in some other quorum tier in the future, not for this vote, So we would have to, I think, unless we posted like simultaneously, I don't think that would be possible. So if we made like
also, I didn't know if Maxi wanted to talk on this call or not. Was that the point? Because we're doing this because we didn't have any scheduled speakers. If you want, we could totally pause. If you want to address anything right now, we could totally pause this. I mean, it's not going anywhere.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, sure, yeah, cool. Maxi said he'd come on.
Yeah.
Just for future reference, guys. That's what the agenda is for. I know it's like kind of like a dead thread, but the purpose of it is just to kind of like, if we have threads active sometimes, and like the facilitators, when we're trying to come up with what we're actually going to talk about that week, it's like unless someone has reached out, or if like we reached out to a thread author, then we have no idea if someone's going to come and actually talk about the thing that they posted. So
but we are flexible.
Feel free to use that channel. Yeah, for sure. But always feel free to use that channel just to keep, so people also joining in will know kind of what they're in for. Welcome, Maxi.
Hi, Maxi.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, nice. I just want to go quickly to my my proposals and my threads. So I made 3 threads. One about the treasurer officer role, and 2 about the treasury management stuff. So I will be quick for the treasurer officer role proposal. In AGIP 159, the proposal said that we need to the DAO decides full treasurer role compensation and follow-up election. So I made a thread about that to clear all that stuff around the treasurer officer role. And in the thread you can find my point of view, everything we need to figure out for the EGIP. So you have the compensation, what is the role of the treasurer, and that's all, I think so. So the compensation is set as 2.5 times the compensation of assigners. It's what was done in the past, so I didn't change, I would say, the pro rata compensation. So signers are compensated by 1,000 worth of dollar in Ghost every quarter, and for the treasurer it would be 2,500 USD worth of Ghost. So yeah, I think everything is quite clear in the proposal. Nothing is misleading, I think. Yeah, I will soon post the proposal about that. And if no one is competing for the role, the treasurer role, I will include something in my proposal to say that it counts as an election, because I will not make a proposal for an election if I'm alone. That doesn't make sense. Yeah. Do you have any question about treasurer role?
No, that's perfect. Where's the so there's this thread treasury manager. No, okay, that's not the one.
It's this one. I will link it.
Yeah, I clicked the treasurer officer role. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, based on the feedback too, I think it's pretty clear. People are just kind of waiting for you to post the proposal, and they're probably going to vote in favor. I don't think there has been anybody kind of nominating themselves for the role of treasurer. So
yeah, no.
Historically, we've done that too. Like when it came time to renew facilitators, for example, we put up the thread before and we asked if there were anybody interested in the role, so that we know whether or not to even have an election. At that time, the original proposal had called for 4 facilitators, and we had 4, but one of the 4 dropped off. So we were left with 3 essentially. And yeah, we had one person who was no future said, yeah, I'm interested, filling the 4th spot. And so what we ended up doing was writing that into the proposal. We just said with, like a renewal of the roles with the addition of no future as the 4th facilitator. And that it passed with no problem. So perfect. Like if there's no, which I don't think there is, like especially if you're planning on posting it today or sometime this week, I think you're good to go.
Yeah, I will just let like a 1 week period. If someone want to come up and make an election, he can. Just say in the proposal that the election will be set by the election, and not just. I mean, if someone want to make a proposal to come and to present himself as a treasurer, he can. But anyway, I will post my proposal, and I think that's good.
Excellent.
Concerning the treasury management proposal regarding the IRO reward we got. So yeah, we have like 100,000 worth of dollars in IRO rewards that we got from our LP position, and I think that's just my opinion that we should sell these IRO rewards, because I don't. That's my opinion, but I don't like. I would say a dump token, just rewards that people sell on the market and that depreciate a lot. That's true that IRO token is, I would say, holding more than Ghost in terms of price, But yeah, okay. I'm not a trader, so I will make a proposal to know if we should sell them or not, and if we should sell them, if we have to sell them, in which asset will we sell them? I see 4 candidates: Ghost token, USDC stablecoins, and ETH or wrapped BTC, because I think these 4 candidates are really aligned with the Aavegotchi ecosystem. If we sell them for stable coins, it's good because we can, I would say, do more stuff as a DAO. Buying some Ghosts also is, in the past, it was not good, to be honest. But it's our token ecosystem, so I mean, it makes sense to buy Ghosts with our token, because it's the token of our ecosystem, and I mean, I think it makes sense. And ETH and BTC are just blue chip assets that everyone in crypto has. I mean, that's just blue chip asset that we can have. Personally, that's just my opinion. I'm not a trader. I prefer to have USDC or Ghost because it's our native token. I don't like to say gamble the money on ETH and BTC because it's very hard to sell at the right time as a DAO, because you have always like 1 or 2 months of time before you can pass a proposal. So that's almost impossible to to sell the top actually as a DAO. Even for a normal guy, it's very hard to sell at the top. So if you have 2 months of, I would say, time before selling, that's impossible to time the market. So yeah, but I will include, I will make 2 proposals. First one will be just a simple yes, no, if we have to sell the IRO token. And the second one will be a poll to know which asset we should swap the IRO to. So Ghost, USDC, ETH, or BTC. Yeah, I think the proposal is quite straightforward. If you have any question, feel free to ask me.
Do you think that would take too much time? Like, would you prefer it to be a shorter voting period if you could? Because I'm thinking, like, if you did a poll to kind of define which assets you'd be selling for, then in your proposal you could kind of combine them into one proposal, and it would have the option to be either, like, you know, the only one would be voting against it. The only option would be don't sell. But then the other ones would be yes, sell for, you know, whatever has been determined already, rather than making 2 separate proposals. I mean,
I'm not sure I understood. Can you repeat, please?
So if time is this time sensitive in your opinion, just based on what you were saying?
No. I mean, the proposal to sell IRO is not time sensitive because we can sell it whenever we want. I don't think the IRO token will crash in the next month. But if we buy ETH and BTC, I think that at some point we have to sell them, and selling them is very hard. I mean, to time the market as a DAO is very hard. So that's why I don't like ETH and BTC asset as a DAO, but I prefer stable coins, and it's very it's easier to yield with stable coin than with BTC and ETH. Maybe ETH is quite easy actually with staking, liquid staking token. So yeah, that's. But I prefer stablecoin. That is my opinion. So yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah, I was just trying to see if there was a way to kind of combine them instead of making it 2 separate proposals. But I mean, you would know better, and yeah, I mean, I think people are ready to vote on it.
I think having 2 proposals is clearer for everyone. I mean, yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay, I don't see any question in the chat. I will follow with the third proposal I want to make. This proposal is about treasury management also, and actually it would just give the DAO director the possibility to yield with stablecoin and ETH on some whitelisted contracts, which are Aave and Morpho. Aave is a big DeFi protocol that I think everyone knows, because if you are in Aavegotchi, you should know Aave. And Morpho is, I would say, their competitors. It's not the same approach. They have a siloed I would say lending market. So their approach is, I would say, more safe, but Morpho went live quite a long time after Aave v3, so we could say that it's less safe. But I do like both protocol. I think they are both serious, and yeah, I think they are worth the risk. Personally, I'm using Aave and Morpho for my yield on my personal wallet. Right now, we can yield about 3 to 4% per year on stablecoin, and about the same for ETH. And yeah, this proposal would allow the director to deposit and to withdraw the stablecoins and ETH on these two contracts. And that's cool, because we have a lot of idle treasury. We have idle treasury that is not generating yield. But I would say the main problem is hack or bad debt, and I can understand that people don't want to risk 4% APY considering the hack and or bad debt risk. And that's why I will push a proposal to know if the DAOs want to take that risk to earn yield or not. And yeah, the proposal is specifying that we are not doing borrowing or leverage or looping or very complicated DeFi stuff. Even if it could lead to a big yield, it's impossible to do it as a DAO. I prefer that we stick with, I would say, a basic DeFi activity. Like just depositing in Aave, it's quite good as a DAO, in my opinion. And there's a small note. We have about 350,000 of DAI that we would swap to USDC. It's just a small note. I prefer USDC rather than DAI, just because, I mean, it's easier if we have all our stables in the same asset. We don't need to worry about having to swap them when we want to pay for someone. I mean, we have all the stable in the same stable, and it's easier to manage actually. So yeah, I think that's all. Do you have any question about this proposal?
No, I mean, it sounds great. I'm looking at the chat. I think, I think everybody's on board with what you're saying. So we can expect which one first, and will you be posting your proposal for the renewal, I guess, for the Treasury treasurer, or you said you're going to give it a week?
I will post it now for the treasury officer role because we need to sort it out, because in the last AGIP it was said that we must do it, and and if someone come in the next week and want to make an election, he can absolutely make a proposal with an election. If there is no election proposal, my proposal would serve as an election for myself, because if I'm the only one, I will not make a proposal to elect just one candidate.
Right on.
It's making no sense. So yeah, I will push this proposal first, like in the next hour, and the two treasury management proposal, I will push it like maybe early next week. I just need to check if I make them a bit clearer, like just stick to AVV3, or if I allow the director to use AVV4, or I don't know what. I need to just to check if the wording is clear, because I don't like when proposals are not clear, and sometimes proposals are not clear. Oh yeah.
Excellent. Sounds good. Okay, so we're looking forward to that around next week. But today we should have the treasurer role proposal up.
I'm doing right now because I have some time, and I'm listening to you in the same time.
Excellent.
Cool.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah. That's all for me.
Thank you very much, Maxi. Thanks for joining too.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm joining the chat. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
Oh, nice. So you're still there. Okay. Yeah, I had opened the 10. If you want to run through these real quick.
We could do that, or do we want to shortly address a question about the Treasury? It's not an election, so if anybody wants to be elected, then yeah, he or she should just post a proposal for that. Just to recapitulate. We can
for
do
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like as was just mentioned on that little segment with Maxi right there. So I mean, I'm sure anyone who may have been interested has probably already seen the thread, which would have been the place to do that. We didn't really have anybody. I guess nobody kind of wanted to take on that responsibility, or they haven't mentioned it at least yet. But yeah, I mean, if you get it in that thread in time, which I mean, I don't think it's going to happen within the next hour or so, that somebody's going to come and say, yeah, you know, I'd like to be the treasurer, but just in case, the thread exists there, and maybe Maxi would be able to work that into what he's writing up right now. But as it stands, he's going to post his proposal to just kind of be reelected. And yeah, I mean, there would still be time, like he says, he's welcoming people to post that throughout the week at some point anyway, and it would override kind of the one that he posted. But as it stands, it's going to be Maxi just asking for your votes to kind of renew his position as treasurer.
Correct. And then also the question about the aero, what could we do, what should we do with that? Will be, as VRDev points out, yes, a question with 4 options or more options would need a bigger differential, so it would make sense to separate it.
Yeah.
Because that shouldn't be decided with the same poll or proposal rather. We could make a poll beforehand.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. But I guess, I mean, since he's the one writing the proposal, then he's probably best, you know, he probably has a better idea. I was just basing my kind of input on the activity that happened in the thread where people were giving kind of like a percentage-based portfolio of what they would do with the money. And so I was like, okay, they kind of agreeing on the actual assets themselves, but it's just like a numbers thing here. But yeah, you know, like it wasn't my idea to begin with, so that's just what I was saying off the top.
Okay.
I'm sure it will be very clear when the options are posted and people will know what they're voting on.
Yeah, I think.
And as long as it's not time sensitive, it's not something he was trying to just get rid of the arrow as soon as possible. Like, so if that's not the case, then yeah, it's not. There's no real issue with that.
Yeah, correct. Arrow is on the up, so waiting is more advantageous probably than to acting too quick. Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, you guys are still with us here. I don't know if you is everybody cool to kind of go through the rest of this here?
We can do this quickly. We can jump over some questions, I would say, or we can continue it. You know, that's also something that is not time sensitive, but something that we should think about in the long term. Yeah. I mean, there were in the past 6 years, there were off and on discussions about one wallet, one vote, and all that would entail. What would that mean? So that's not something that we can decide now. Also, other DAOs have also their different solutions for this question. But I wanted to start it because also the question about the quorum will not go away. And yeah, maybe we find some solution for it that's like new. And I would, if we want to look at one question, that would be exactly the one that I wanted to address. So we were now, I think, at which question? What question do you have, Faith?
It was 9. I just kind of I clicked next and went to 10.
Yeah, the next questions are about abstain. You know, abstain is like a special vote, and you can interpret abstain in different ways. So the next few questions are all pertaining to this topic. Yeah, there are some scenarios I am showing. What is abstain? Is it something active or is it something passive? Should there be maybe different forms of abstain? And that's a question I try to approach with the scenario in question 10. So I don't think we should read that everything. Or if you want to. What
no,
you
I understand.
Say?
Yeah. It falls under the same category about the one. It's actually good to know. Yeah, I'm seeing it here. I was reading it at the end. Same about the one wallet, one vote. I got you. Yeah. Plus, anyone who's like filling this out as we go, kind of, or was participating in it, they probably read that.
Okay. Yeah. That would be question. I see question 10. There is one has to fill something into the box down there. That was mistake. I'm still learning the ropes, so to speak, how to build a questionnaire. So thank you for your patience. But they will get better, I hope. And yeah, I will take up also these topics in future surveys and make the question maybe even clearer than it is now. But
yeah, it's a process, man. Like that's the thing about, like, even during this call, people are like, okay, this is probably a bit much. But I mean, I was thinking about it from the first time that quorum tiers were brought up. I was like, it's gonna be a bit exhaustive. Like, we have to go through it. You know what I mean? The things need to be clearly defined, and at some point, like, if it all gets typed out somewhere and if it all gets questioned and surveyed, like, that's still going to have to be reviewed, because a lot of people aren't just going to touch it. And I have a feeling that, you know what I mean, they just don't feel like reading a lot and stuff or whatever. But when it comes time to making a decision, we're going to see that issue that we've kind of, dealt with historically, where it's like people come and they have issues with the decisions that were made after the fact. So kind of to avoid that, we need to make sure we're on the same page going into the thing, and it's a lot. So
I understand you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks for the effort, and we're gonna just need to go through it one way or another.
Yes, but if there is like you say, if there is a paper trail, if there is like, it is documented that there has been a long discussion about it. So, and if the person just trusts the discussion abilities of the persons involved, and that's like a delegated vote, so to speak. Not everybody has the time or like the interest into the topic. I like it, so for me, very welcome. I like to concern myself with that, but. Correct. It should be a long process because these are very fundamental questions, and in the end, it should just come to a very clear vote or formulation of what we are voting on. Correct. Absolutely.
Exactly. And like you said, there's a way to verify. I mean, that's how we came to all these conclusions, or at least the final version that people will be voting on. All the data that it was based on and all the kind of back and forth is all there.
Is there
in forms of surveys and polls and questions and discussions and stuff. So
not something that is a spontaneous idea, but there is really a discussion about it. That's why we do it. So thank you for bringing it up. Cool.
Yes, sir. So for this, just because I'm not going to put any text, I'm just going to put question marks right now, just so that I could be able to click next page.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
I guess this falls in there too. The B1, the core abstain question. In the scenario above, what outcome best reflects legitimate DAO governance?
That's pertaining to the other question, the question before. That's what should be, what is the correct approach? Yeah. How to value an abstain? Because right now we also have votes decided by abstain. Yeah, if the 7.2 are reached or not reached, that is effectually an abstain vote, and that's absolutely you could say that's absolutely legitimate, and you could say no, that's not optimal. And we should think about that. And also the ones who are using this option, maybe there would be a way where their opinion would be reflected even better,
Right. Yeah, I'm just looking at the options here. So it's like the proposal should pass, and then it has a description. The proposal should fail. The proposal should pass, but with caveats. The proposal should fail, but with a fallback. And the scenario reveals a deeper problem. Even a 2 out of 3 threshold is not a guarantee. There should be an additional framework in place. Yeah, I mean, you've considered a lot of things, which is cool. Might be a little confusing to people, but the questions are, I mean, they're relevant to each other. If you're going in order, then you understand kind of why the question is being asked. And that's kind of what I wanted to go over with this, was just because I was looking at the old, I guess we could do that next week, but I was looking at the results of the shorter survey that had like fewer participants. And even some of the numbers, I was like, wait, I have to ask, like, what is this showing? We had VP, it said like 7.2, you were using whole numbers where it was meant to signify the VP, and then we were getting like averages that were well above our current quorum, and I didn't understand it. So there was just a little bit of confusion. But
yes, sorry about that, but
no, it's good. It's fine. This is, I mean, it needs to happen. Obviously, the people who answered it and they were discussing their results in the thread, they didn't. That wasn't one of the, question. They didn't have a problem with that. To them, it made sense, and I was like, okay, that could be the thing. It's just like I didn't fill in the actual survey, so I didn't see the options, and the results are being presented in a way that I don't understand. So that's fine. It's good actually.
Okay. Yeah, it is more like an indication, you know, what it was like the first try of a survey, but it indicated maybe something, and that would be there is like not a no for quorum tiers. There is like interest, there is an inclination. There you could also say yes, it is a topic. It is like a temperature check in this sense, but exact numbers, you know, that's the thing. If we write a proposal, we will have to define the tiers, and we will, yeah, that's also in the earlier work I did with the LLM Council with the results. What would be the tiers? And what? Yeah, concrete number. What constitutes a micro proposal? How much of funding is that? Is that 2,000? Okay, so we would have to, or we should think about if we want to have that in a proposal, like, you know, if it's concerning the budget, a micro proposal, micro tier would be $2,000, and a medium would be 5 or 10. We should think about that concretely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's the thing that everybody who answered the that survey has in common, was that they recognized the need for this. So it's just the question of like fine tuning the actual tiers and, you know, their definitions, and then all this stuff that's now in the new it's kind of like the nitty gritty, you know, it's more detailed.
Yeah, it's even more, yeah, it's even deeper of how to reach quorum. Yeah, so yeah, maybe it's too much, but I think it's connected. So I wanted to have it like in the discussion, but certainly regarding the quorum tiers, I think it makes sense to post another survey with just questions about how to define the quorum tiers. Maybe that's the best way to proceed.
Right. I mean, they go off each other. So like once it's either that we have the tiers defined, and then you can get into the specific details, like kind of in this second survey, or vice versa. Like we have the questions from the second survey, and then we determine which tiers those fall into, you know, like where it applies, obviously. But I mean, I like the way it's structured. It is a bit of reading, but it's all, you know,
yeah,
necessary.
I think it's worthwhile. It's worthwhile, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we really do something that is often in other DAOs, you know, like decided, yeah, from some top level, and we can really from the ground up discuss these things and come to a solution that suits us.
That's right. Yeah, I'm looking through the questions. I got to 13, where I was just trying to see which ones, like when do we get out of that
Okay. Then you have the personal behavior test. Yeah, what is it? Like, why do you use abstain? Then you have 14, and then you have like a simple slider with question 14. Where do you lean, so to speak? That's not optimal, because the next question is the middle option. So
yeah, but I like that the abstain one, the 13 one, at least it also, I mean, there's a bunch of options, but it's giving like you could definitely put multiple choices. So for all the reasons you have chose to abstain in the past, basically, if you have, you know, even the first one was like, I have never abstained. Yeah. So it's like, and then the rest are, you can click off as many of them as apply to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I had such a phase in the beginning that I never used abstain. Like that was a principle, and I revised it. But that's also a possibility. There, you could say you should, as a member, as a voter, you should have a direction. Yeah, and also something to think about.
Yeah, these are good.
Cool.
Abstain, final position, have to consider all scenarios. Okay. Yeah, that's a slider one. Okay, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, let's.
Is
let's
there another category after that, like of questions that are lumped in together?
I don't think so. They will come at the end. Well, I wanted just to look at one thing, and that would be the problem we would have. That of course with one wallet, one vote, big accounts, big wallets would have like, yeah, would not have the significance as they had before. But I think there could be a way how to implement a system where that wouldn't be the case. There is this approach, I think, by Optimism DAO. I'm not sure, where they have two houses. One house like is one wallet, one vote, and the second house, it's the token house. There, it's like we have the system, like VP decides, and they decide different kinds of proposals in a different way, and the two houses can veto each other. Yeah, as the house where you vote one wallet, one vote, can veto the other house and vice versa. Yeah, very interesting. There are in other DAOs like really efforts to try something new, to test something new, and so I think we can do that too. And if you can proceed with the questions, maybe then we will see that. I'm just looking through. Which one is it? Yeah, question 16, like slider 16 in the survey is, where do you tend? Rather VP-based quorum or one wallet, one vote? Yeah, that's not optimal.
VP, weighted VP based quorum versus vote. Yeah, I see it. Versus voter count based quorum.
And I'm just looking, one has to put something into the...
It is a slider, like which one do you lean more towards? Literally, yeah.
Yes. Correct. And yeah, the next question is also concerned with the right to abstain. It is an instrument, of course. One has to acknowledge that, I think, that it is used as an instrument and that it should be also considered to be used as an instrument. That's something I think is worth discussing. Okay, but one can choose also fourth option, no opinion, I need more information. So that's a little bit too early. And question 18, that would be the vote differential by tier. Of course, if we would have, and we have the different quorum tiers, that would at first complicate it, maybe, or maybe not. If you had a system, one wallet, one vote, and at the same time a quorum tier system. Yeah, should the decision be different for micro proposals, and in contrast to big proposals or the big tier, yeah, like constitutional decisions? Should there be like another mode of voting about it? That's like an example. I have to revise the survey a little bit. And yeah, question 19 is exactly that. I just stated there like I defined a medium tier that would be between $2,000 and $25,000 dollars.
Yeah,
and
standard grants. Right. Yeah, go ahead. The other question you were saying.
No. As it stands now, the question is even more complicated through if you have more options, if you have more this is now really only the case. I failed to add that if you have two options. If you have two options, then this differential is the one deciding. And of course, if you have 3 or 4 options, the differential is different. Yeah. So that is also something to think about.
Yeah, these questions get harder to answer as you go along.
Yes. It is. So, but yeah, well, we're just opening up the space, you know. Maybe
Right.
if more friends think about it, we will find a simpler solution, and it's indeed less complicated than it seems.
Yeah, I mean, if we accomplished anything here today, I hope it was just to, like, even going through them, at least going through the questions to understand that they're kind of like there's categories.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
A
Exactly.
couple of these questions seem to be in the same, like, fall under the same category, but this is, again, all just to kind of help define things. So, like, answer where you can, and where you can't,
Just,
you know, put the
just say
question in the
unclear.
thread.
I would be happy
Absolutely,
if you say no, that's not clear. I absolutely understand. Just write question 17, 18, 19 is not understandable. Perfect. And I will think about how to formulate it better.
Yeah. Like, thank you to the people. There were a few who did that kind of for the first one, and that helped me, because I was like, I had both things open when I was looking through the survey. I was like, okay, these people, they're thinking about it. They've been at the discussions. They've heard kind of what we're talking about, and then they went and they still had questions. So they answered some stuff, and then he's like, wait, why am I even answering this? Let me go kind of consult Nestor, because he wrote it. So it was good to see that.
And for me, so thank you for the patience, is also how to formulate a question better. You know, that's like the core question, to ask a valid question. You know, from that it very much depends on how the answers are. Yeah, you know, and so, and that's of course a process. Yeah, a process of going back and forth. Yeah, what is it that we want to really ask or know? So it's very much experimental at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, we have to start somewhere, and it's a really good start. It might be a bit overwhelming, but I mean, I recommend that if you haven't yet, for anybody that's listening, just kind of do what we did here, is kind of go through the thread. Let me just post it one more time.
Thank you.
Yeah, implementation of quorum tiers. All the links are in there, and the results as well of the first survey, which had, you know, it didn't have a huge turnout, so I don't know, but well, it's good to just get a feel for kind of
I would say,
the people who people who answered at the beginning. We can go ahead and just kind of look at that. If you look at the questions that they posed, look at the results of the thing, and then check out this Survey Mars link that's also in that thread. That's the survey that we kind of went over on this call. Anything to help kind of define the final proposal that we're going to see for this quorum tiers issue?
Anything we want to address? So just take it as a, as an inspiration. I haven't thought about that, but that's important for me. So it's just a little helper, in that sense, for the writers of the proposal and, of course, for everybody in the community. Yeah. Okay.
Right on.
Good.
Right on.
We are.
Do you have anything else, Nestor?
No, and that's only the last one. It would be the page 20. There's the question, if we could have a system where we take into account one vote, one wallet, one vote, and at the same time the weighted voting. And then you have the question, the possibility to have vetoes. Yeah, the veto system. That's also another whole topic, but I think maybe there is an easy solution for that. So that would be the question 20, and otherwise you summarized it very well, so thank you very much.
No, thank you, man. I know you did. I mean, reading through this, I was just like, wow, this guy, you've been at work. Like, this is, it's a lot, but I appreciate it, and I think if anybody reading it feels overwhelmed, like imagine the effort that went into to writing all of that, just to help kind of deal with this issue of quorum and stuff. It's I mean, yeah.
That's exactly it, because it is overwhelming. Also, it's a lot for me, and there is not an easy solution. So I wouldn't want to decide something like that on my own. Really not, without checking, without getting checked, and without discussing it. So thank you. Any comment, is very much appreciated.
Excellent, man. I'm seeing Maxi posted his proposal regarding the treasurer role. It's there in the chat. So if you guys are gonna get your votes in,
let's do that.
Cool. Perfect timing, Maxi. Yeah.
Nothing more from me.
Something else?
Thank you. No, that's
okay. Yeah, excellent.
That's all.
I just wanted to bring up, just if this one was a bit too. There's been talk recently, basically, about these calls, right? With the issue of the facilitator role term coming to an end. I think it's at the end of next month. And just kind of like the attendance of these calls and stuff like that. There's been some ideas. There's a pretty good thread by Roxiano. She started it. Yeah, you guys should check that out, just because it's like you're the regular attendees. And basically what's being talked about is this, a completely new, it's not just about renewing the facilitator roles anymore. Like, it became more like, what do these calls even mean anymore? Like, what are we doing here? And there's been some ideas, because, if someone new to the community was listening into this call today, I don't think they would have been particularly interested. Like, a bunch of people that are here all the time kind of tuned out after a while, because it's just like, okay, either they have a decision of how they would vote on this thing already, or they're kind of not interested in the subject. But a way to just make these calls more appealing to everyone, like, as you guys might have noticed in the last, let's just say in recent history, the Hangouts got shorter and shorter, to the point where they're kind of like non-existent as they stand now. And I guess kind of what was being hinted in the thread was that maybe the facilitators need to take on this duty of also being in charge of the Hangout portion, where traditionally it was like, that was like the PC hour. We were hearing stuff from Pixelcraft. Pixelcraft, now they're not doing much of the Hangout anymore. So, but I guess it's understood that that's what people would tune into before, when there was like excitement around the project. And especially if you expect new people to be interested, then there would need to be something like that. I feel differently about the kind of like incentivizing and rewards and stuff, but I'm not against it. I'm just like, especially for the governance side, I was like, why should there be kind of like a reward or some kind of financial incentive for people to participate in DAO governance? But that's, if we're talking about a Hangout section where it's more casual, it's not about the business, then yeah, like, why not? Like, anytime you go to, or there's some kind of just like fun function or event, there's a chance to like win something, or, you do a giveaway or whatever. So I like the ideas that are being presented there. I didn't understand it if they were talking about just the governance side of things, just the DAO side of things, because I was like, we shouldn't do that. But if it becomes part of our or like a facilitator's duty to kind of take over the Hangout section, then we can do more fun stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that's where we kind of want people's feedback. People who are here, people who have already, even if they're just in the background, they put these calls on every week. just give everybody something to work with, man. Like, what would you want to see more of? I know that they were talking about like hosting games and stuff like that. Great, it's fantastic. But the only way to make the Hangouts great again is going to be with you guys' feedback, because like we could do it. I mean, we could just shoot the shit. We could talk about current events or whatever, but it's like, what would you guys want to do? What would make you participate more? I love the fact that last week's DAO call had a bunch of DAO members talking about DAO things. That was awesome to see. Like I said at the beginning of this call, but also for the people who might, they prefer to just maybe listen to the DAO segment, or they tune out completely, whatever. What do you think should be done as far as facilitators taking over or handling the Hangout portion of these calls? Do you even want a Hangout portion of these calls? Like, just let us know, since you guys are here anyway. That your opinions are valued.
Very much so. And I think Brills was shortly here, and he proposed to be a part of the facilitators, as I remember. And as you say, it depends on the feedback. What do you want? What do we want? And I think implementing the games, because that was the topic also when Pixelcraft it was speaking, so to speak. It was always about the games. So yeah, we should pick it up there. I think we can pick it up there, and it's in our hand.
Right on. Yeah. Just something to know what we would do, like I used to think about it before, like on the weekends when I joined for the, before I got even active in DAO stuff, like when I was just kind of more about the events and the other stuff that was happening, the Hangout, I would listen to the whole call, but I would be there essentially for the Hangout. And there was always some kind of event going on. So like, I like the idea, and I see how that's way more appealing to any potential newcomer, or someone who's not a regular right now at the call, that we could potentially have become, a regular attendee. What do you guys want to see? Yeah.
That should be.
And we want it more casual. We want more people to join up, like the way it used to be. People would come up if they just wanted to chat, and that was understood. That's what was happening at the beginning. But as we're seeing recently, for various reasons or whatever, it's usually Kododan, and Kododan, he's here with us for most of the DAO call, but like we're jumping into it way sooner than ever before, and the period gets shorter and shorter now. Whereas before, like even as a facilitator, I'd be like, okay, the DAO portion is starting like an hour into the call, and I was very aware of that. But now it's like we're kind of on standby just because that might start right at the beginning. So if you don't want that because you're not interested in that and stuff, cool. You want an hour of Aavegotchi where you're not dealing with DAO stuff, for sure. Like it's understandable, and I think that's what right now people are trying to work towards. So just let it be known, kind of put it in Roxy's thread over there, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, that's a plan.
Awesome. Thanks, thanks, Nestor, for joining me, man. You're always like
happy
are
to,
very helpful. Yeah, thank
happy
you very
to.
much.
Thank you for great leading through it, and Maxi, of course, and all those who attended today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. All right, so go vote on Maxi's proposal. Check out the threads that we talked about here, and fill out that survey if you can. Let's get some more data to work with. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. See you next week.
Till then, have a nice weekend.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.